Hello, how do you pick stocks for watch list? Well, we are going to leave our 2025 watch list and go to our master list and analyze few stocks there to see if those stocks are stocks we want to gather for 2026 watch list. So the first one is SYK. You are going to use maximum monthly chart. It's going to allow you to have a big picture of the stock. So once you have that, you want it to be tracing your value line. Again, our strategy is long option long swing trading strategy, which consists of buying stocks around the value line when the stocks price pull back to the value line and start going up from there, and sell it after it reach a new high. So you are looking for stocks that will have higher lows at the valley of the mountain, since the stock chart is pretty much drawing mountain and valley for you, and you want to see if the stock is having a higher highs at the peak of the mountain. So we trace one valley line, but we are not sure it's going to come back down to that valley line. So you want your valley line to be touching the bottom of the V's that the valley is showing. So those obvious V. And I think this could be a possible line. So we are going to look at the peak. We can see those peaks. And you want the peaks to be getting taller and taller compared to the previous one. And it is. So those peaks are just going to be like V upside down. So you can see them, and now you'll try to see how long it is between the peaks when it comes back to the valley line and start going up. So we can see that it's about 2 years here. It's about 2 years here as well. So there is a pattern here that maybe when it come back to the support line and start going up, it takes about 2 years to be done claiming another, claiming a taller peak. I mean, it can start claiming before then, but might continue for some months before it will be done and pull back. Here though, it didn't pull back to this support line, and then it continued. But again, it took about a year and a half here, and again about a year and a half. So right now it's at this support line. We just don't know if it's going to continue doing that or if it's going to come back down. So we have this one for sure that in 2025 we selected those two to buy at. At this point, I'm not entirely sure I wanted to buy at this support line, because again, I don't know if this is a temporary, is supporting the upside wall of the mountain, and at some point it might pull back to this one. So we can get in since it's right around that support line and start going up from there, but I would prefer not to, because it reached a new high this year. If it's leaving here, it could reach another new high next year, because it did it within a year or so last year, and again around here, but for how long? So if we go down a little bit, it didn't do that much here. If we try to trace a support line supporting this, we can see that in some way it did it here before it pulled back. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So when it left this valley line, it was going up for 4 years before it pulled back. And so if that is the case, but here it did 1, 2, 3 or so, or 2.5 years when it pulled back to this support line, but not to this one. So and then, so 2.5, and then we have 1, 2, 3 after that. So there is a chance that it might come back down to this. We just don't know when. So it could well decide to go up from here. We are just going to keep observing it. I just prefer to wait. So we are going to activate this one and make a teal color that we are choosing for next year. But this is going to be a buying point as well for us. So those two lines, we are going to keep them. This one, I'm not entirely sure if I want to buy it there. This support line is like 2 years, almost 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 is 3 years long, but I just have a feeling like it may not remain there. So therefore, we are not going to do anything at the moment. We are just going to keep observing it. But yes, totally is going to be one for the watch list. So we are going to go back, and the next one is going to be this one, ISRG. Okay, we are going to trace some support lines here. And we are going to trace some more going from the past to the present. And then we have the price from 0 up here. And it seems to me that this is a good value line. It touched base with it 3-4 years ago. But let's see if we'll be able to find some more. Not really. This is going to be, if we do that, it's going to cross this one. But as we are looking at those, if we are going to choose a value line to buy, it's going to be those two. But before we do that, let's look at the top of the mountain. So when it reached this peak from here, it continued to grow because it reached it, within 2 years, but then continued for another 1.5 years. So about 4 years. Let's see, when it pulled back, 2 years to get there, and then it pulled back 1 and 2 years. That's the third one, and it has not really come back down, and it continued to go up. So currently is following that support line, is pretty much which is supporting the upside wall of the mountain. If we are counting the number of years between those two peaks, that'll be 1, 2, 3, and here that'll be 1, 2, 3. So we just prefer to wait. Yes, we are having taller peak with quite a bit of gap between them, about 3 years gap between them, and mostly those gaps are related to the growth going to the peak, not necessarily going down. It does that within months, but then take years to grow. So we are going to choose those two to be our entry point where we'll want to buy. How long we are going to wait for that to come back to those lines, we are not entirely sure. At this point, it's going up. Therefore, we can just let it be. It could well, breach that and reach a new high there. If we are using short option and swing trading strategy, we might want it to buy. But at this point, I just prefer to wait for how long it's going to take. And when it comes down to those values, we can buy some. But yes, this is going to be added to it. So we can just put good chart there. The next one is BDX. And BDX, let's see if we can trace some lines here. It seems to be a stable company. I'm not entirely sure what it's doing, but if we trace those, for some reason it was flat here for years, like during the pandemic all the way to now, and now it's going down. And when we are looking at it, it didn't do that really in the past though. So, but anyway, let's look at those mountains. And we don't know for, because this is quite a bit of growth, but it started before 2020. So when we look at it here, we have multiple years of growth here as well, and then it pulled back, and then started again, and now it's pulling back. So because there is, let's count the number of growth that we have here when it pulled back to this support line. So we have, in fact, that's when it touched base with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it plateaued there, but continue making higher highs. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years. So 15 years to grow, about 9 years of growth, and then plateau a little bit, growing higher a little bit there, and now it's going down. So yes, the valley is still tilting up. The peak is a higher peak, yes, but is a one that if this pattern will repeat itself again, it could be a short-term investment type of stocks that you can buy and just hold for about 10 years and sell it and buy it at the valley line. So the valley line, we will prefer to buy this. It's going to be more of a short term, and it has been around for years. So the valley line we are going to buy is going to be this one. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to come back down to this one. So we are going to keep this one as the valley line, and we like to sell it at a higher high. So when it breach the peak, then you can see that when it breached the peak here, it continued for more than 10 years. So this will be the one that after it reached the peak, we might continue holding on to it for years before we sell it. So we can say 15 years of growth, and it's taking about 2 years to pull back. And that will be something, it'll be good to write down as a note so that we keep that in mind. But we are going to give it a try. The past 2 years, it was not on our watch list because again, it was when it was start going down. So we are going to add it to it. We are going to say short-term investment. We are going to say 15 years of growth, 2 years of pullback to valley. And one thing I like to consider as well is, but I don't do that often, is when it touch base with it is at 54, and here is 287. So we'll take this divided by when it touch base with the valley line. We can just use 55. So 287 divided by 55, that is 5 times your money. So if you buy at that valley line and you kept it for about what, 15 years or so, 10 years or so, even here it was around 283, 86 and all those. You'll 5 times your money. So if you bought it at $55 and you sold it somewhere here for 280, for instance, does that make sense? That is pretty much what that means. So we are going to buy and leave it there. So we can say that we can add it to it. You can 5 times your capital. if we can remember those acronym that we use, the X and the K. So one more that we are going to do is EW. So EW, let's trace some lines here, touching the valleys. If we go, I think I'll do this, passing by there, this one went below it. If we go this route, it's going to end. This does not have a good support. Okay, so let's see from here. This one has more support. It has more support there. It seems to me that it touched base with it already and it's on its way up. So we have higher lows at the valley. Let's look at the mountain top. It's getting higher. 2 years there, 2 years here, 2 years here, a year and a half, a year, and now it's on its way down. For that to take what, 2 years to come down, 1, 2, 3 years to come down, 3 years to come down. So when it left this valley line around here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of growth, it took 2 years to come down. 7 years of growth, 2 years to come down, and now it touched base with it and start going up. So this, we will add it to our watch list now to keep an eye on it, because it's still around that valley line. We don't want to buy it. Is this going to be added to the watch list? Yes, it will. So 7 years to go up, 2 years to go down. Again, this will be more like a short-term investment, because first, let's take that note first. And it didn't make it to our last year watch list because we used a different strategy last year. So 7 years growth, 2 years pullback. And we can calculate how much from this, when it pull back and start going up, is around here. It went below that support line before it start going up. So we can use this. Here is $9 and here is 131. So 131 divided by 9 is about 14 times. So if it's going to do the same, we are going to see. So, but we can use this valley line to see when it touch base with it is around 19. We can try that as well. Divided by 19 is 6 times. So 6 times, you can trace this. You can see where this one took it to. But yeah, it's pretty much 14 times X. So we'll come back to here and we are going to say 14 times your capital. Will we add it? Yes, we will use it as a short-term investment. One more we are going to analyze is this one, HOLX. And we pick this to be an entry point, and that is already around there. So we want to take a look at it. So that will take us to maximum daily chart, and we are going to take a look at it. So let's see, it's already living there, and we can trace a support line to see if we are having an uptrend line here, and we do. I'm trying to connect it to this one, but I can try to connect to this, that will work too. And you can go this route, that will work too. And now we can zoom to see what is going on. So we have so many growth here already. It's bound to have a red bar. So I would prefer to see a red bar. That means the price dropped that day. So it's going to pull back a little bit and start going up. And if it's following this support line currently, I will keep an eye on it to see if it can pull back a little bit close to it. And when it start going up, that first red bar we will buy. So I'm going to keep an eye on it going into next week to see if I can find a place to enter it and buy. So that will be this one. So now let's look at this HOLX. Let's go back to maximum monthly chart. So together we found one. Not only is going to be in the part of the watch list, but it's well positioned that it's already came back to that value line and start going up. We might want to buy some share. You can even buy just one share. I don't even know how much it was selling. If you buy one share for $86 and 10 years later you sell it, don't even need to calculate it. So let's just say 6 times for 516, you'll make that profit out of that one share. You can just buy and just leave it in the portfolio and keep observing it and learn from that experience. So who is going to join me so that we can keep an eye on it this week and see if we can find an entry point and buy it? It's still around that support line. It came to it, and remember, when it leaves, it can take years before it'll come back down again. So, and there is a chance it might go lower to the value line we have at the bottom as well. But it's worth buying some share, and if it goes lower, you buy it again. But if it just pull back a little bit and start going up, you just let it be. It's going to come to your level. If it pull back to a support line below, if there is a big difference, then that's when you want it to buy again if you choose to. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Looking at this is a good value line. This is too low. I don't think it's going to come back down. So now let's look at the peak here. It surely makes a higher peak, but there is quite a bit of gap between it. Like when it made this one, it took quite a bit before it made it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years before it made this one. So it pretty much crawled around this value line for a while. Let's see. But you can see that $10 there, $20. It doubled. Even though it's crawling around this value line, it doubled the money there as well. So that's good to know. At least the line is now horizontal, right? It's tilting upward. So even though it's crawling around there, giving you chance to buy, it still double around there before it went up. Okay, so from there it took that time before it came back. So 1, 2, 3, 4 years before it came back. From there it went higher, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and that was when we have another 4 years. That's when we have a higher high, and it has not got there. It has not exceeded yet. So it pulled back here and start going up again. So this one is a little bit lower than those though. So I'm not entirely sure, and I don't think it's trying to have a different value line from there. It could well be too. Do you see? Then that will make this one crossing it. That could be a value line as well, but it's just not clear enough for us to see if this is a value line that is leaving. But I have a feeling like this will be the value line. It just came to a two months or so, because we are using maximum monthly chart. But it could well just have, use this one and move from there, because it tried to repeat about the same there. But I'm just going to keep observing it, and I'll wait to see if it's going to come back to this, and that is where we'll want to buy. This is not really a clear one that we can see the value line clearly. There is those two that it might use. Those both are long uptrend lines, so it could well use this one just like it could use this one. So we could color that one as well as a teal color and keep looking. At this point it left it already, but I just have a feeling like it repeated that same things here when we have that growth on its way higher, and then from there it went sideways. So we are just going to keep observing it. At this point it left there already. Unless it come back to, we can just keep observing it and keep it in the list and keep observing it. But it's kind of a real one as well. Can quite a bit grow your money. It just take its time. When it touch base with it here around 29 and reach that peak around 87, I'm not sure how many ratio is that. 3x your capital there. But anyway, so this is going to be one for a short-term investment as well. So this concludes our list today, and in our list we have 2 to swing trade, 2 to invest in using swing trading strategy, and we are just going to keep them and keep observing them and see how they perform. So thank you so much for watching our videos. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all your comments, and thank you very much for subscribing to our channel. I'm Afiavi, Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel, and ninasoap.com, our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways to save money and different ways to make money to reach your financial independence, where you do not depend on an employer to provide for your family. And swing trading is one way to make money. Just start small and grow your account from there. For more of swing trading tips or how to create your own watch list, will you please check the playlist in the description of this video. And to select stocks for your watch list, we put those stocks through these 6 filters before they made it to our master watch list. And from this master watch list, every year we like to reanalyze it using maximum monthly chart to see if to select stocks from that list to create our preliminary watch list for the new year. And from there, if the list is big, we can review them again and decrease it. And this time going into 2026, we are going to create 2 lists from those large cap stocks, growth stocks. We are going to create a list for short-term investment and list for swing trading as well, and use both. Thank you for your time. This video is brought to you by liberlabel.com, our online store. And currently we have a tote bag that we listed there. If you are interested in a tote bag, or you are looking for a holiday gift for a family member, yourself, or a friend, will please check it out. We sow to sell, and that is one way we make money as well. Thank you for your time.